Well, hello. We're going to take a trip up to there's a little fruit fly knocking about. It's doing me head in. Anyway, today we're going to be going up to the plots and we're going to be doing some harvesting with my brother, the Guru MURPHINDA. I'm Brother Bilo, obviously, and yeah, let's go and see what he's on about. He's going to be talking about his. He's going to start off straight into it because he lost his first video. He's going to start off straight into it with his dwarf French beans, and then he'll talk you through the rest of it. I'll catch you at the end, boys and girls. All right, take care of each other. I'll see you in a bit. Speaking of the dwarf French beans, they need staking up. I staked up the ones at the back there. These need staking up as well. They're a bush plant, so really don't tend to need too much staking up, but these have grown to about 2 feet and they're starting to keel over under the weight of the beans, so I'm going to have to start picking these as well. I've got my canes here. Let's get them on. Quite a lot of fine French beans on these plants. They're doing well, so I'm going to harvest some of them. I'm probably going to take about 10 from each plant that we've got. Look at those dark, the difference in leaf on this. Right, that's a sort of a yellowy green, isn't it? These that are in the ground, very dark green colour. Not much difference in the proliferation of the beans. If you look at these ones, there's plenty of beans on these. I've been picking this one, I've picked this one. So yeah, the actual produce or production is fine on these. In fact, it's a bit better than these, I think. Although these are tending to bush out more, aren't they? Oh, there's plenty on there. These need staking up as well. I'll have to get some more canes tomorrow. Bring some more canes down tomorrow and get them staked up like these ones are. But yeah, let's get harvesting. There you are. That's not a bad first picking, that, of the fine French beans. I think they'll be nice and tasty then. But yeah, I've just taken about 10 from each plant. There's probably about another 30 on each, and they keep coming through. They keep producing these according to Terry. You get more blossom as you pick them. You get more coming through. Well, that's all right, isn't it? That's not bad. That I'm having that. Let's have a look what else we've got in here. In the Palace of Glittering Delights, which is Tiki Tunnel 2. Excuse me. Every single time. I bang my head on that every single time. Every time. And I've just done it again. Right, we've got some cukes. You take them at any size, really, cucumbers. It's up to you what you do with them and when you take them. We're following Terry's method on these as well, top tip Terry. Don't give them too much water. And they seem to be thriving on it. They're doing all right with it. How many have we got? I've got a few, I'm sure. Spotted about 6 before. That are probably ready for harvesting size. Yeah, that one. We'll have that one. That one down there. There's another one there. Right, I'll get some picking done. Thought I'd show you this. Nature in the raw. There's a war going on for mastery of those black aphids. See how they're clustering around the growing tips? Happens every year. SD, I think, Plant Invigorator gets rid of them, but if you look inside there, oh, the wind's picking up. We've got the predator, or predators, in the form of the ladybirds or the ladybugs if you're American. There's a bit of sexual congress going on as well. Now they're on all of them. The ladybug's a predator of those little black swines in there. Now what they do is they suck the sap. Oh, hang on. This wind's picking up too much, isn't it? They suck the sap of the growing tips, and then it starts to wilt like this. But the ladybugs will predate them. What you'll find also, though, is you'll find ants. I'm trying to see some. I saw some before, some ants, and the ants milk the aphids. The aphids secrete a sort of sugary sap from the bums, and the ants love it. So the ants actually try and defend them against these ladybugs. But let's hope that the ladybugs win, because the ladybugs will be eating these little swines. Fingers crossed. These should have been cordoned in ages ago. But as I say, time is not on my side. I'm picking up some rebar road spikes, I think they're called, the ones with the like shepherd's crook on the top of them, and I'm going to be putting them around I only actually planted them in half of this bed, so I'm going to be cordoning those off and lifting them up, because these are starting to shade out the not that it's looking like it's surviving very well, the spaghetti squash. But yeah, I've got to sort that out. I've got to cordon them in. I'm going to get that tomorrow. I'm going to get them bars in tomorrow. I'm going to 4 off Pete. He's left them at the front for me. But a lot of these broad beans are ready for harvesting now. You like taking them young so they're small, but you can get big, leave them and get bigger ones obviously on them. Bunyard's exhibition these, but they've been neglected since they've been planted. So I'm sorry about that, boys and girls. I feel quite embarrassed about that. Some nice little cukes there. That's a little fatten, isn't it? These are the Market More 76, these ones. They'll grow bigger, but I'm just taking these because they'll be good snack sizes for the kids, for the boys. There's plenty more blossom coming on, as you can see, and the plants are still growing. So I'll just have to be a good plant husbander to them and assist them on their way, and they should be right. We've got, as I say, a few more there that are still fattening up, probably about the same again, another 4, but they're all coming through, and we should get, probably every time that I come down, every couple of days, we'll get 4 cucumbers out of this lot. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. I do believe maybe 7. I thought there was 7. Well, whatever it is, I'll be getting 4 off each time I come down every couple of days, and that's going to keep us in cucumbers. I have got more cucumbers that are started a little bit later. They're in the top greenhouse, the clear 6mm twin wall polycarbonate greenhouse. They're in there with the tomatoes and the sun gold, etc., which I've noticed we are starting to get some toms on. But yeah, they'll come through, and as we're taking them, some of them will be of that size. Some of them, as it gets more into the season, they'll be bigger. I mean, last year I think we got one that was about, what was it now? Was it 25 inches or something? It was massive. We had a really big, long, massive one last year. So that's fine. Look at all them, they're all dead. Everything's dead. That's because of the heat and the chance, and I've not been down. I couldn't get down. I was away. And they've all died. Oh, it's such a terrible, terrible shame. But nil desperandum. We've got our beans there. Got our cukes. These will be going out. Now I've cleared them beds off, these will be going out tomorrow. All these beetroot, we're going to be getting the cauliflower interplanted with the lettuce as well. So that's what's going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to be taking these pak choy as well. Oh, the pak choy. Yes, so the pak choy is definitely ready for coming out, because it started to bolt again with all the heat that we've had, all the sun. So you can eat them. You can eat they're like broccoli, like florets of broccoli as they come up. But if I leave them any longer, they'll go over. They definitely need to come out, those. And because I've got a glut of them, we'll be blanching them, chopping them and freezing them. So they're going to be going in my mum's freezer and our freezer, and we're going to sort of, each one of them is a family meal basically. So because we've got about 20 of them, that's what we're going to do. Get A4 size zip bags, chop them all up and put them into we'll probably get It's probably going to be enough with one of those for 2 family meals actually, but we'll see. Like I said, we're going to steam blanch them and freeze them up. It's not a bad plant. I'm just checking because these are in the Brassica family. I'm checking for club root, little bulbous roots on the underside, and I'm not seeing any, which is good, which means that that bed should be fine really for planting in the cauliflowers, because it doesn't look like there's any issues with club root. Club root dwarfs the plants, it makes it sick. As I say, they look like little Jerusalem artichokes, the club root, and there isn't a sign of it on that, so that's great news. We'll obviously be liming as well. We lime every time we put in. I'll show you that tomorrow when we plant them in. But yeah, there's a little yellow spider there creeping about. Look at him. All sorts of flora and fauna. There we are. I've got a red one and a green one. That's the throwback. They were all red ones that I planted, that I sowed. The red choy. It's a bit bug bit and what have you, but if it's good enough for the bugs and slugs, it's good enough for me. It'll still eat. It'll all be washed and rinsed and everything like that. That's organic growing for you. Yeah. Didn't use any slug pellets or anything on that, on those. So there has been no artificial pesticides, herbicides or insecticides used this year on this plot, and that's the way we want it. These are all going to come out tomorrow, and the cauliflowers are going to go in there, and the lettuce interplanted. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Let's carry on with the weeding as well. God, I detest the weeds. Look at the weeds. Jesus. Sorry for blaspheming there, boys and girls, but it makes you blaspheme. Right. That's Chinese kale on the end. Again, that's bolted. It's not very heat tolerant though, the kale. This sort of kale, this Chinese kale. But you can eat it. You can eat all of it. You can eat the flowers. So yeah, I will be taking that as well for the soups. I'm going to be taking that, chopping all that up, and cooking that up for the soups as well. We're going to be doing soups, and we're going to be freezing it. Just going to be freezing the chopped up leaf as well. Okay, that's the plan. I've also got some of these yellow raspberries. Let's try one, shall we? The big bushel of them here. Yellow raspberries. Mmm. God, they're perfect. They're so sweet and tangy. That's them there. All these yellow ones, yellow raspberries. And there's a mountain of bush here, and it's covered in them. So that might entice the kids to come down. These are blackberries here. These are all blackberries that are coming on. I've got loads around it. Let me just turn you around. I can show you. Yeah. Hopefully they'll fill up, fatten up, blacken up, and we'll be eating them. Blackberries. Look at them. Loads of them. I'm not too concerned if it doesn't, because around where we live there are wild blackberries. Thousands and thousands and thousands of them, and every year we get about 20 pounds in weight of blackberries. Also strawberries, as you can see there, the Tweety birds are having a bite of them, so we need to get the netting on that. We need to get straw in the bed, so we need to get the netting on it. But this will encourage the kids hopefully to come down tomorrow for the raspberries and the strawberries, because there's about 40 strawberries ready for taking there, and there's hundreds of the yellow raspberries. So it's good, isn't it? Yeah, all the spuds there, they're in the ground. They're getting the flowers on them now. So you get the flowers on them. Wait till after the flower has gone off. You can Some people favour actually taking the flowers off them, and then leaving them, because the flower actually takes some of the energy away from the tubers that are growing underneath. But speaking of potatoes, we've had a bit of a disaster up at the top in the bucket grown ones, so I'll show you that now. I'm going to have to start harvesting these ones straight away, to be fair. Okay, now again, because of the really hot temperatures that we've had, the lack of water that these have had, because it's not it's looking like it's going to rain. I hope it does rain tonight. We predicted rain last night and it never happened. So what's happened is, yeah, they've all fallen over. As you can see, there's different varieties in here that we're growing. These are Pentland Javelin. That's a rower Pentland Javelin. We've got, they're all first early new potatoes, these ones. So those are the Pentlands. Those are Accord. Which ones were these ones now? What were these? Now, where's your label? Very professional, that, isn't it? Where's your labels? There's labels for them, I'm guessing. There will be. Anyway, they're the mystery spuds, and these ones are, I think, the Ulster Prince, 5th of the 4th. So they've not been in very long. They've only been in about 10 weeks. Then 5th of the 4th. They're all put in at the same time. So they've not been in long enough, really. But they're falling over. I could leave them, but I'm going to check. I'm going to do a bucket tip out on these front 4, just to check the situation of the different varieties that we've got. See what's through. Here we are. Here's a label. What are these ones? Red Dukes. Alright, so they're Red Dukes, but they don't look like Red Dukes because they haven't got the sort of reddish leaves that you would normally associate with Red Dukes of York. So the Ulster Prince, the Red Dukes of York, we've got Accord and we've got Pentland Javelin. So I'm going to do a tip out of these, see what we've got. You know, I've just started to tip out those spuds. I've just gone getting my phone. You were on charge there for about 20 minutes. I've just started to tip out those spuds, and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be terrible results, given the weather conditions and the early cropping of them. You know, 10 weeks isn't enough, really. 15. I like to give it 15 if possible, but at least 12. So I'm going to leave them. I'm going to do this one row just to see what the difference is at this point between the 4 varieties, and then I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave them for another couple of weeks. Just leave them as they are for another couple of weeks. See what happens. And then we've got all these ones then as well, which are doing okay. I'm just going to have to make sure I'm coming down doing the watering on these though, because I want to give them the best possible chance. But I'll show you. Now these are the Pentland Javelin 2-seed potatoes are in. That's about the result that I thought I was going to get. Quite naff result on the Pentland Javelins. Not because of the Pentland Javelins, just because of the situation. But if you look in this one, this is the Accord bucket. And I've just pulled the first one out there because there's 2 spuds in. It's looking a lot more promising, isn't it? So shall we see what's in there? I think we shall. Okay, now we're moving on to the Red Dukes of York, and I'm excavating down through the bucket. I've took the horns off, and I'm excavating down through the bucket. And we've just hit the potato seam, the spud seam. These Red Dukes are generally quite a prolific variety, and they're not quite as tasty as the Ulster Prince, but you do tend to get quite a few of them, and I like them because they're a bit different because they've got red skins. I quite like that. As you can see, they're quite prolific, and they're a decent size, a lot of these as well. We've not really got any very tiny tiddlers in these. Not a bad looking spud, are they? That's getting us down to where the seed potatoes were, towards the bottom. I think if I do 2 to a bucket again, I'll put them both at the bottom, because I know they say that the spuds only really grow around that base, but I think if they're deeper rooted, when you get the horns coming up, they'll be better supported, and we won't get that flopping over that we've had, or it'll minimise the chance of that flopping over of the plants that we've had. Not looking bad in here, to be fair. I think we're getting halfway decent results. There's a seed potato there, see. Now they're supposed to grow around the seed potato, these first earlies, but it seems like they're slightly above, doesn't it? I bet there's more in here. There's got to be more in here. Got to be. These red dukes. The red-faced Duke of York, I call him, because he does have a red face, so he should have a red face, shouldn't he? Right, let me just switch you off for a minute. I'll have another rummage through. I don't want to miss any. Okay, so that's after 10 weeks worth of growth. It's not bad, really. I don't think that, to be honest. 2 potatoes in, around, say, 20 out. There's not much in it when you actually feel them. I've not got my scales down here, but when you actually feel the buckets and check them for weight, there's not much in it. I think maybe the Ulster Prince are a slight winner, followed by the Dukes and then the Accord, and then the Pentland. But the Pentland, it doesn't feel like there's much difference really in it. I'm guessing you're talking about 1 3/4 pounds there, close to 2 pounds, maybe 2 pounds, maybe just over 2 pounds. Yeah. So around about 8 pounds of potatoes, roughly speaking. I'm guessing though at that. I'm not 100%. It might be about 7 pounds altogether. But I don't think it's too bad considering what's happened. What are you emulating there?
Rain.
The rain. Give him a good soaking. Go back again a bit, mate, because it's been red hot, hasn't it? Give him about 10 seconds and then move along, and then give him another 10 seconds. We want to give him a deep soaking if we can, or a reasonably deep soaking. We'll have to give it a bloody good weeding as well in there as well. When you've done them, mate, do them sweet corn behind you. Okay. So I was hoping for getting 3 to 4 pounds out of each bucket. £1.50 to 2 pounds from each seed potato. But obviously, it's not happened, that, has it? And the reason it's not happened is because they've been pulled too soon. So I'm going to leave these, all the rest of them, for another couple of weeks. Another couple of weeks for that row. Another couple of weeks for that row. Okay? And so that by the end of that period, even though the plants are not looking too clever and too chipper at the moment, hopefully, provided we don't get blight and stuff like that, they'll still be getting some nutrition, they'll still be getting some water, hopefully, water, to try and swell those tubers up. It's difficult to speak with this tooth, that tooth. I look better with the tooth in, obviously, but it's difficult to speak with it in. I'm still trying to get my mouth around it, if you like. And then we'll be moving on to these. Yeah? So that one will be pulled at 14 weeks. that one at 12 weeks, that row at 12 weeks, that row at 14 weeks. And then these ones will be coming up for the same sort of a time frame, because these were put in 4 weeks after the other ones. So they've not been in very long at all. They've only been in about 6 weeks. And they're thriving. That increase in temperature as the plants have been put in, I think it makes a bit of a difference, you know. It does make a difference. Because these are coming on strongly, even though they're a month after. They're like May when they were went. They've been in about 6 weeks, something like that. It's not very long. And we'll be doing the same. So a row is a week's worth of food, or probably about 2 weeks worth, if they were up to full fruition, which they're not. You know, if I was getting 16 pounds of potatoes, that 16 pounds of potatoes will be enough for us, because we don't eat potatoes every day. Probably every 3 days, 2 or 3 days. But it will be enough to last us a couple of weeks, doing it like that. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and therefore we should get about 4 months of carbohydrate, 4 or 5 months of carbohydrate just out of these. But we've also got the beds down there as well, haven't we? We'll be planting up quite a few. So these are Maris Piper main croppers in this bed. It's not completely filled with them though. I foolishly forgot to plant this bit. Been rubbish this year, mate. We've got Sarpo Mira in this one. Getting brown spots on them. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. They're supposed to be blight resistant, these, but I'll have to keep my eye on that. The Sarpo Mira in there. And then up here, we've got another, and it's the same sort of a setup as we had up at the top there in this bed, where we've got the Ulster Prince down here, we've got the Red Dukes there, we've got the Accord there, and we've got the Pentlands there on the end, and we're going to see what the results are in there, because I believe there are 5 or 6, I'll have to remember, I'll have to look back in the videos, 5 or 6 new potato plants planted into these beds. Like I said, I think it's about a 6 foot by 4 foot bed, that. So we have got spuds. We've got spuds there. I'm going to be planting up some more potatoes in there for hopefully a late season crop into September, back end of September into October, the harvest season, the harvest festival season. So that's going to be done tomorrow. We're going to get some more spuds into that bed, and also into this bed up here. Walking around the plots as we do, and there you go, this bed. So as I'm emptying the buckets, I'm topping them up, topping the beds up in here, and then I'll be planting down the last of the spuds into this bed, and potentially that bed up there. Right. And hopefully, back end of the year, you know, into the winter, we're going to get that carbohydrate. Have some Christmas potatoes, Christmas new potatoes, and Christmas main croppers. The plan is eventually to have a whole year's worth of spuds, but we'll see. That's all you can do, innit? You can just try your best with it. Right, boys and girls, catch you later. Love you all. Keep growing with your heads down and take care of yourselves and each other. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. I've been Guru MURPHINDA. You've been fantastic, fragrant and beautiful if you're a lady. You've been forthright, masculine and virile if you're a gentleman. And if you've been something in between, you've been something in between. And we love you all. Take care. Catch you later. Bye-bye now. Okay, and we're just making a soup with the veg that we've pulled off the plot right now. So let me show you that. And there it is. All in the pan. I didn't have any carrots, so we got some carrots off one of the other plot holders. So they're still organic jobbies. But you've got the onion scapes there, you've got the potatoes, you've got the beans, we've got the French beans, we've also got the broad beans in there. Some of the broad beans are in there. We've got garlic. Yeah. Plenty to go at. Jobs are good, and like I say, once I've completed this, it's about 3/4 of the way through now. I'm just going to add in the pak chai. But once that's completed, chopped up pak chai is going to go in. That's the last step. And let that wilt down, and then we'll blend it up with a hand blender. There's videos on the channel. If you think organic cooking or something like that, there's a playlist there. So check that out. Okay, there'll be a good gallon of soup produced from all of this. I've just added in the pak chai now. I'll show you. There we go. That'll all wilt down. And put the lid back on. Another 5 minutes or so, be right with that. And then it's the hand blender. And there you go. Happy days, I'm looking forward to that. Super green soup. There's about 7 different organic vegetables in there, all from the allotment plot. And that'll last us in soup. 5 gallons of that will last us as a family in soup for a good week. And it gets better and better as you warm it. You know, we'll get a good 5-day feed out of that. Good for vegetarians as well. Not vegans, because we add butter. We actually saute the onions and garlic and the onion scapes in butter first of all. There are good soups and there are quick soups, but there are no good quick soups. Okay, peace, love and happy Mondays. Yours sincerely, Guru MURPHINDA. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll catch you in the week. Bye bye now folks, keep growing with your heads down.